Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Leo. On this channel I do music reactions and deep dives into artists, their albums, their fandoms and the music industry, and I focus on women in alternative rock and metal music. Which is why I stumbled upon a video from Spotify called Women of Metal Roundtable, and in this video we have Courtney LaPlante, Lizzie Hale and Christina Scabia talking together. And the theme is really the theme of my channel, so you know what, I wanted to do something a bit different today. Check out this video and comment on it as we go. Before I start, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to my amazing Patreons. Thank you so much for going the extra mile to support my channel, it is deeply appreciated. And yeah, this format is a bit different today, but I was really curious about this roundtable, and I know Ailstorm a bit. I absolutely love Spirit Box, so I was like, this is a video for me. I don't know what you think. I think we should start. Let's go.
We just solved sexism. We did it, guys. We did it, guys.
We just solved sexism. All right. I think we're going to have fun in this video. I'm eager. It's okay. It's the singer from Lakunakel. Sorry, I didn't. I didn't check
metal.
This
My
name.
ABCs of metal were Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, Cinderella, and Ronnie James Dio. Summer of '97, my brother and I started Hailstorm. We entered ourselves in a talent show
90s.
at the Schuylkill County Fair.
Hailstorm
but we named the
started
band
in
Hailstorm that day because my little brother was being
That's
annoying in
insane.
the family van.
I forget that some people started music super early. Like, I started playing the guitar when I was 12, but it was just classical, you know, guitar and then folk guitar. But my parents really did not encourage me to pursue music. You know, they, like, for my parents, there was only one option. It was like, go get a master's degree and you have to prepare for a serious career. When you have a master's degree, you can try to do something else, but not before. And I followed that. I don't regret it, but, you know, I wish, you know, my parents had been more supportive in my, like, passion for music. But it's fine. I stopped doing music for some years because of my eating disorder. Sorry, I'm talking about me, like, right now, but, you know, this inspires some ideas. I'm sharing them. And now I'm starting to do music again. I bought an electric guitar. Super exciting. But anyway, this is just making me think, like, some people started early. And I find it really cool, you know.
Like, he's like, we need to have a band name. I'm like, we're not a band, it's just the two of us. You know, it's like, a band is the Beatles and Stones, we need 4 people. But I was like, shut up, what do you want to call it? And he's like, well, I get teased in school, they call me Hailstorm because our last name is Hale. And I said, sure, that'll work for today.
My story is different, coming from Italy, which is a country in which rock and metal has no history. So one evening, a good friend of mine is like, okay, we're going out. I'm going to take you to a place that's a little bit different than usual. And she took me into this metal pub. Back then I was already singing, but it was in a completely different genre and I didn't want it to be a job for me. That's where I met Marco and Andrea, my co-singer and the bass player of the band. They already had their own band. And we met that day. I started to hang out in that pub. That's where the band started.
My mom married this guy from Canada, and she moved me and my 2 little brothers up to Vancouver Island, Canada, on the West Coast. And I think just because me and my little brother were really lonely, he and I started making music together, and we made a band together. And I taught him how to play guitar, and then he, like, very much surpassed me. So again, I was like a late bloomer with metal music too. Like, I still explored, like, the beginnings of metal music, like Black Sabbath and, like, argue like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But just stuff that was very much more intertwined with, like, the like blues heavy, like, you know, when you think of like the old Black Sabbath, it's like just very, there's like a parallel with blues. I really feel. Once I was like 19, I basically was kind of at the mercy of my little brother. You know, he started being so much more infatuated with going from us writing more like more like Audio Slave, like Rage Against the Machine riffs, like heavy, but then like starting to explore like a whole new world of bands that opened up to us. And I think one of the reasons was because when I moved to Canada, metal music was treated really differently there. I don't know if it's like this where you're from, but like in Canada, they have to play 30% Canadian
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
So you have all these bands that are like crazy, like prog tech death metal bands on our equivalent of like MTV because they're getting like funding to make music videos and they're at all these
Yeah.
award shows. So these very like obscure bands I was starting to see on TV. Like I didn't have to go out of my way to see them. I was seeing bands like Alexis on Fire and Despised Icon and all these like really still very, very out there music that was very influential. And me and my little brother just kept making music together. Parallel to that, my husband was doing the same thing in his band and we grew up.
Let me pause here. I have a lot of thoughts on what she said here. I don't know which country you're from, but I think it's really interesting what she said about like, you know, the media having to like showcase Canadian bands and thus sometimes having to showcase bands that were more heavy. And I think it's great that it like kind of forced metal being a little more mainstream there, because tell me how it's like in your country, but I know in France metal is not on the front scene. We are very lucky because we have Hellfest, which is like one of the heaviest festivals I think in Europe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's definitely huge and we have so many artists going there, which is super cool. But you know, in France there is like musical landscape, the very mainstream one. You will never find super heavy artists in it. Of course, like you can discover music by yourself and go through different mediums to discover music. I'm just talking about the very traditional ones. We have, like, the media landscape in France is really dominated by a few billionaires. And they're going for, like, the very safe, nice stuff that I personally sometimes often find a little boring. It's definitely not what I listen to. But yeah, let me know how it is in your country. I find it very interesting. But I know that in France, like, the big media company, and this also includes the big labels and stuff like that, are dominated by conservative billionaires, so we don't really have different stuff that are pushed in the mainstream. It exists and sometimes it really grows. Think about Gojira, but this band, like Gojira, is a good example because they became bigger abroad. Like in France, they weren't really pushed as much as they deserved to for the success that they had internationally. So I find it like very interesting. And of course they played at the Olympics, but honestly, it was so surprising to see a metal band at the Olympics. I was like, okay, someone in the artistic team has great taste, because I just know our old conservative like decision makers weren't like pushing that, you know. And I also like what she said about being a late bloomer in metal, because I really identified with that. I really got into metal at 23, and here, as you see, this fashion has developed more and more with this YouTube channel. And I really want to, like, I write a lot of music, but I want to write rock music, and I feel like a late bloomer of heavy music, so I really like how she said that.
I read an article one time about Gwen Stefani, and she was saying that she was really bummed out because she like went home from tour and she was broke and she was 26, and she was so weird to come home to her, you know, where she lived with her parents and have like 4,000 fan letters there, but then like living in her childhood bedroom.
Oh yeah.
And then and that's when things popped off for her, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this till I'm 26, and I'm gonna drop out of school, and I'm gonna keep trying. And if I don't make it by 26, then I'll leave. Then when I was about 21, I got the craziest opportunity to join this band on Warped Tour called I Wrestled a Bear Once. Because their singer quit during the tour. Oh, God. And so they needed to finish Warped Tour. So I found myself, I was working at Lululemon, and my now manager, because he managed that band, called me and was like, do you want to, you know, the internet brings us all together, and they heard of me. And so, yeah, I found myself being on Warped Tour in 2012. And then my husband ended up joining the band. And then we left in 2015, and we took a couple of years and we made our own band. And, you know, Spirit Box and yeah, like my whole metal journey kind of evolved this alongside my career, weirdly.
So full disclosure, I've been with my guitar player for 22 years. I've been engaged for 11 years. I have a ring, but we just like, that was never like the priority, right? He did it as like a sweet notion on our 10th year, but my brother is in the band. So like the whole term, like don't shit where you eat or don't dip thy company pen in thy company ink. I never got that memo. There is something so beautiful about having all these firsts and living your dream out loud with the people that you love, with the person you love with your heart. It's like that's the most fulfilling thing.
Yeah.
And it's part of the reason why I fought very hard to not have a solo career, despite everyone wanting me to. From an early age, like I remember being 16 in the clubs, and like all these men were like, lose your brother, lose the band, lose your buddies, you should have a solo career, you should be in pop. You should, like, why are you into metal? Why are you into hard rock? Because this music spoke to us, and you should never apologize for being a late bloomer, by the way, because I like it.
I've always pausing here. This happens so often, like this thing where you have a band and a France woman, and all these executives from the label want to take this woman out and like give her a pop career and like make her a pop star. And there's nothing wrong with being a pop star, but like this girl is coming from a band doing rock and metal. It's just not her thing. Don't like try to push people. Like, they're really like, oh, she's a pretty girl and she can sing. Let's just market her and get everything out of her that we can. No, she's a musician. She wants to, like, have her career. Not saying that the pop girls are not having their career, but, like, a pop girl that comes wanting to be a pop girl with a vision in mind that includes pop is a thing. Being an executive from a label and wanting to take a woman out of her project because you think she's marketable... give me a fucking break. This pisses me off. Let's keep going.
It happens a lot. People
I like
expect
it.
you, like, oh, you're in a metal band.
You should know everything.
When did you start to listen to metal? And it's like, it's not a challenge. It's not, I don't have to be faster than you to find out about metal.
Yeah.
I just love this genre,
I
as I love other kinds of music.
It makes me stronger, I think,
I
because
love what they're
I care
saying.
so deeply about other genres of music and other artists that maybe if I was so obsessed with the aesthetic of metal where there's like this poser culture, maybe I wouldn't have explored those things and been influenced by all these other artists that I love, from like Prince to, my mom's first concert ever was Alice Cooper. So like, I wonder maybe I'd be a less well-rounded.
It's in your legacy and
listener.
It's in your blood. Female strength and females in metal. It's like, think about the strength that a dandelion has growing through concrete in the middle of a Walmart parking lot with no water, no sustenance, but somehow still survives. And that's what we have all done. And
I just hate the word female. I don't know why, like, it's English speaking, and especially in America, like, people use this word so much. Why don't you say woman? It's just personal pet peeve, but like, she says it in a nice way. But, I don't like this word.
And by just existing on stage and showing these young women, hey, it's hard, life is tough, but we didn't give up. They can see themselves reflected in us. And I love having all three of us here because we are all we're from three walks of life. We're kind of down the tier here, but we are the only people. Like, and forget about like our boys that are our allies. Yes, they've walked side by side, but nobody will ever truly know what it's like to walk in our shoes but each other. It doesn't matter like what age we are or how early we started or whether we liked Hanson, because I totally did.
Competition.
But it's not a competition. It's a summoning. It's it's like,
and you guys did the hard work to all the annoying that you've put up with has helped me. I still had to climb, but it was more of a little bunny hop compared to my bunny hop was less hard on me. You know what I mean? And maybe I do the same. The more I rise up, maybe someone who's making a band 10 years from now will help them.
You do have an element that we didn't have though, and that's social media.
Yeah.
If I had come up in this time with social media, oh my God, I would have gotten in so much trouble. There would be pictures and videos. I would have been canceled way.
It's true. I'm so thankful.
and the comparison, like the body comparison.
Just posing here. First of all, I love their interaction. Like they listen to each other, they don't interrupt each other, which is also something that pisses me off. I hate when people interrupt like other people speaking, but I find it like so adorable. I will check up like their age after that, because I don't know Lizzie and what is the name of the singer from Lacuna? A new discovery for me, Christina. I don't know their age, but like I'm going to check them out after, because like it's motivating me. It's never too late to play music. Honestly, they've all look like they started early. Like honestly, Courtney started music, like she's doing music super early, like starting being in bands in the early 20s. It's like, you're so young, honestly. Like I'm 25 now. I just turned 25, and it's just going to be this year that I will start sharing my music for the first time. So I am a dinosaur bloomer by the standard she's sharing. Let's keep going, and I'm going to Google their age.
And the unattainable beauty. You are carrying a weight that we didn't have. At the same time, we just had different shackles to us.
Whenever you're in any sort of like, whether it's really a minority or it's like a perceived minority in whatever like field you're trying to go in, I don't think it's just in the creative fields or in music. It's probably like this for anyone, because the general person that is the majority in that world, generally like they haven't had to empathize with people that aren't exactly like them. Mm-hmm. Everything you do is political. Everything that you're doing is some sort of like social commentary. So like your hair color, your nail polish, that's all they can see is you in that other group. It also frustrates them and is annoying to them.
Oh my god, this is powerful. It's true that like, yeah, when you are, I love what she said, in a minority or in a perceived minority, everything you do is going to be perceived as political, whether it is by the people who are in part of that minority, or even by the people who are perceived, like who are in this minority and who want to be inspired by you because you are the same and you have a stage and a platform, so they want you to, you know, speak up and keep being this role model. And it can be a good thing, but it can also be a double-edged sword, because like this has to be super tiring. It also makes like the people who are not part of this minority hate you so much sometimes, like
because they're like, enough with the lady thing.
Yeah.
You're always complaining about being a
It's
lady.
like it's taking away every time you're talking about your appearance just because you're enjoying makeup, or as you said, like, I got new nails.
Yeah, but
this
you know,
is
people
not supposed to
enough with the lady thing.
From what you do for a living.
Not on this channel, let me tell you.
It's very, anything like how I'm looking and how we're all looking today can't help but be a political thing, as in like, oh, I chose to dress very feminine, therefore I'm this, or like I chose to not wear makeup for this. It's just like a different experience, and I'm grateful that we all have people in our corner that are there to understand and empathize with us. Mm-hmm. You're reduced down to your in-group because it's different than their in-group. If you let it overcome you, you can kind of like be gaslit and you feel crazy. You're like, am I talking about this too much? It's just very fascinating to me. I try to look at it more like from like a anthropology standpoint. I'm like, why are we doing this? But again, like I think that you two especially have made it so that it just helps people like have more of an identity or feel like confident that it's good to be talking about this stuff. It helped me, so it'll help hopefully the next person make it a little easier. But I had the tail end of this, but it's probably similar to you, right? Like you winning makes it so that other women don't get to win. Only one woman can be on this tour, otherwise it's a novelty girl tour. You know, like those kind of things, like there can only be one of you.
Amy Lee and I have fought this because, you know, we've gone out many times on tour and we'll...
God, what they're saying is so, it resonates so much. I really like what they're saying about like, yeah, like everything you do becomes something, but at the same time, it is because like no one like wants to leave you space. Like in, like, let's be honest, the music industry, and especially like in rock and metal, it's extremely like male dominated by men, you know, like the decision makers, the producers, the mixers, the technicians on the tour, like almost everyone is a dude. How do you say? I think it's the shroomfet phenomenon. Like, it's the smurfette in English, but like, it's like we're all men, but we're going to have one woman. Or it can be like we're all from this like dominance group and we're going to have one person who's from a minority. So like we can't be criticized or we want to be perceived as progressive, but at the same time we're absolutely not. So, yeah.
Take The Warning.
Yeah,
The Warning!
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're amazing. Yeah, see them live. If you've never seen them live, they attack the stage. But so it would be like all women, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah,
you did it on purpose."
Like a marketing thing.
Marketing thing.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not that. It's just that there is a. It just so happens that the female acts are more interesting and better than most of of what gets put on our plate for like when we're picking, who
She said
opens
it,
up for us.
and she's right.
To your point about the hurdles that we have to go through. So for me, it was when we were trying to get signed. Okay, we love what you do, but we don't know what to do with you because women in rock aren't really a thing right now. And then Amy Lee broke, and I was like, see, girls can be in rock. But then after we got signed and we're trying to get our stuff on the radio, and they're like, oh, but we've already got one.
Yeah.
We already have Taylor Momsen, or we already have Amy Lee, or we already have Lacuna Coil. Like,
Yeah.
Out of 1,000 songs that you listen to on the radio on the daily, they're like, yeah, one woman. Fuck off. Oh my God.
Like a bunch of
we already have a token girl for our
Token girl.
program.
The token
And
girl. Oh
we
my God.
can't fit you in. And I'm like, there's a lot of guys, and nobody's saying the same thing. Oh, we've already got one.
I have had so many people as a compliment to me go, I really don't normally like female vocalists.
I know.
But I think
Yeah.
you're good.
I really don't like female
So
vocalists.
my comeback now is I go, cool, I don't like most male vocalists, but,
But it's the same.
but here we are.
Yeah,
they're
here we
playing
are.
this festival. I find that so interesting. I think a lot of the time, the way that any of us get like a compliment from people that maybe aren't very self-aware, the compliment is relative to like an insult to someone else. Like, you're one of the good ones.
Yeah.
I love what she said here. It often happens. I haven't seen that a lot in my comments, which I really appreciate. I've just seen it a few times, but it's something that often appeared in conversations. But this thing of like, oh, this woman is great, but it's always like in comparison to another woman. And it has happened to me a lot, not in relation to music, but like often when a man complimented me, it was like relative to being better than another woman, and I don't care about that. It's like, am I nice? I don't care about being nicer than this other woman that you met the other day. Am I pretty? I don't care about being prettier than these other group of women that you don't care about. It's like, just like, and here she's saying that in relation to music, and it's just insane because at the end of the day we have to remember that an artist, it's their job, and it's crazy that in a professional setting men will still behave like that and discriminate. And even if you don't think it's a discrimination, it is. And here it's about like exchanging, but like having a compliment that is essentially like, you suck less than the other women. No.
It's so crazy to me. It's just so strange that someone would have no self-awareness and like having my gender be like a genre of music and saying that they don't care for it. They just simply don't care for a feminine sounding voice, which I find
When I started
interesting.
with the band, it was like the end of the 90s, so there were not so many bands, metal bands, with a female in the lineup. And I remember that many times I was going on stage and there was always that guy that would be like, hey, naked, show us what you got, show your boobs, show me. And it was always interesting to see the change along the set, that I could convince that person to at least to shut up and witness that I was able to do my job. And it was very rewarding on one side, because I was like, okay, I'm going to make you change your mind. I'm going to focus on you for the show and see things changing to the point that they are today. There is still a lot to be done, but
But it's so sad that you'd have to do that. That I'm glad it slightly changed like throughout the years, but you know, as a performer on stage, you shouldn't have to, like, of course you will always have to convince someone in the crowd, but having to be like, okay, I have to convince this person that my gender can just perform and sing on the stage and that I'm not just here to do a striptease. Like, my girl shouldn't have had to think about that while she was doing her job. This roundtable is slightly reassuring me when I see, like, so I checked out. So Christina Scabia is like 52, and Lazy Hale is 41. So I'm like, even if I start music now, even if it's just for me, I didn't start music, like, but I'm like, I don't know, I love doing music. I would hate going on tours. I would hate to be a professional musician. Maybe I probably don't even have like the talent and everything to go, but I'm just like, yeah, you can be like, it doesn't matter, because like I'm 25, starting now, like I would be, it's just the same for my YouTube channel. I was like, oh, it's so lame to start a YouTube channel. I was 22, 23 when I started it, and 24 when I really pushed it and was like, I'm going to post 1 video per week. And I was like, oh, it's a lame. But like now it's been like a year and a half since I really started. And like, if I hadn't started, I would still be the same age. And it doesn't matter if I've been on YouTube for a year or like 10 years. What matters is that I'm here, I'm having fun, the content is great, and the community is amazing. So yeah, let me shut up.
See many women now in the lineup. I love to see at least the 50% at our shows of females coming to the show in a very peaceful and equal environment. I love it. I love it. I would have never thought that it would have become like this. Everybody would ask me, how does it feel? That was the main question. And it almost became a joke, because it was just like, how does it feel a woman in a metal band?
How does it feel being a woman?
And I go,
in metal?
It's the same as every other profession
how
you have.
does it feel? It feels that I wake up, I have a coffee with the guys, and I just do my job.
I always say that I say the same thing. I go, it's the same as being a woman in any male-dominated field for your profession. It sucks, kind of, and then you just try to do your best.
What I will say, when I was coming up in the scene in Pennsylvania, just like played bars and all the time, and I'd be carrying.
I studied in tech, and I remember at some point when I was like, because I wrote a lot of music to share it, maybe one day. And I was like, I wouldn't want to do music because it's like too much misogyny and it's a male-dominated field. And then I took a step back and I was like, girl, you're doing a master's degree in tech and you're going to work in tech. Shut up. You are already in the male-dominated field. You're already going through the misogyny, whether it's slight or straight up discrimination. You're already going through that, so you might as well do that in a field that you love, Love what they're saying.
In my guitars, and some guy at the club would always be like, my girlfriend never carries in my equipment. And I'm like, this is my equipment, right? And then there was always, like, I walk in and they'd be like, oh, the merch booth is over there.
Yeah.
Or like, you're the merch girl, you're not in the, I'm like, yeah, I'm in the band. So because this became such a thing, instead of me starting out with the band on stage, I would start in the back of the club or with a hoodie on with my microphone, and I would start a cappella. Nobody would know where the hell it's coming from. And then everyone's like facing the stage, like, what the hell's going on? And then I would go up to people and be just like, hey, it's
hello.
me.
That's crazy. How did you come up
I'm
with
the
that?
merch girl that you thought, or I was the girlfriend you thought. And and so it became this almost like, I win, I get the last.
How did you come up with that?
I wanted to have the last word, and I got really
it's
it's amazing.
Such a gag. That's
it's
crazy.
amazing, like what
so cool.
Unfortunately, what men will never really, the beautiful thing that men will never understand,
Love her.
because they've never had to go through it, is that it takes you being stepped on, you being hidden away, you being chained to something, you being misunderstood so much that you feel that you go through this like phase of like, I'm sad about it, I'm frustrated about it, I'm angry about it. Now what am I going to do about it?
Well, there is a good thing about social medias, and it's the fact that you can finally show what you want on social medias. I remember that I posted a picture with zero makeup. And I was just like, you know what? I want to be free about boundaries. I don't want people to think that I'm always dolled up. I don't want people to think that I'm always feeling beautiful and perfect. And I was just like, I want to show myself in the most normal way. And it was amazing. I got a lot of messages of appreciation, like, thank you so much for showing that we can be cool looking even if we are not putting makeup on or if we don't have the perfect dress. We always had a fan base that had a lot of women in it. I love it when they tell me we have been inspired by your music, by you showing yourself for who you are. I opened a Twitch channel during...
You inspire me so much right now, Christina. So much.
During the pandemic, and started to talk to a lot of girls that were just like sharing their feelings, their opinion. I get a lot of messages from women, not from guys, telling me, how can you feel pretty every day? Like if it's a goal to reach. And I never get messages from guys like, why do I not feel pretty today? What can I do to do that?
We need more of that.
Exactly. And this shows that there is a huge difference, that when women are not feeling pretty, there is a problem. Guys don't care. Guys are getting old and they're getting more fascinating. Yeah. Ladies are aging and they're just like, oh, what's that wrinkle? You put on weight.
Yeah.
You should dress according.
Heaven forbid you get like Botox in your forehead to get rid of the what the lines.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh, you're getting work done.
You should dress accordingly to
You're
your
too fat. You're
age.
too
And
thin.
it's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I don't live life in stages. I don't want to be there at 30, there at 40. You were mentioning like, oh, you're 30 years old, you have to be married with 2 kids. If you're not, there was something weird with you. And it's like, no, we have a different path. Oh, it's because you want to focus on your career. No, it's not because of that. It's because I have a different life. And I love to talk with the younger generations that are following us, telling them that they have, that each one of us has a different life, has different dreams, has different opportunities as well. Because I think that you also have to have a dream that makes sense with who you are. Because I might want to become, I don't know, a Victoria's Secret's angel or a model, but I don't, or a ballerina, but I don't have the characteristics. I can sing, I love to sing, I'm gonna pursue this thing, but you have to make the best of your quality and who you are. You don't have to have weird expectations. Just follow your heart, follow your dreams. You guys were mentioning, girls were mentioning how important it is to be surrounded by people you love. For me, it was the same because Marco, our bass player, has been my boyfriend for 10 years and a half. Now he's my brother. I would die for him. We have a different type of relationship. But it's so important to surround yourself with people who are supporting you, understanding your potential.
I just lost about 1,500 followers this week because I've been putting out poetry. And some of it is dark, some of it is deep, and some of it is, I've decided to combat the darkness of this world with my pen and not at a podium, because you can't argue with stupid. And once you start preaching like, woman good, man bad, like that's all they hear. And that's not, and then your words can be used against you. Whereas through poetry, I'm able to kind of pierce the veil a little bit, and I'm also giving the people that do follow me and that want to be here and sit in this life with me, I'm giving them hope, and I'm giving them, like, maybe offering them, hey, here, we can still have some faith in humanity.
I'm really invested in feminism, and I think it's absolutely essential that we protect women's rights, because they are far from being at the level of men's rights. And in some countries it's a little under, in other countries like the gap is absolutely drastic. But it is absolutely essential for me to talk about it. And I've done it in many ways, I have a TikTok account where I only talk about feminism and post some educative post or post some posts where I talk about my anger. No matter what you say, whether you say it in the nicest way possible or in an angry way, in an aggressive way, in an educational way, in a nice way, in a cute way, you always have so many men who are going to be so angry and resentful at you for pointing out the fact that you go through some discrimination. So sometimes you're going to express that through art, and this is what she's saying here. I want to see what she's saying next. It's like, I do the parallel with racism, because I'm white, I'm a French white girl, you know. And it's like, when someone talks about the racist discrimination that they go through, as a white person who doesn't undergo racist discrimination, what I do is listen and try to take away what I can. But I never felt like, oh, don't say that, oh, I'm different and everything. Like, no, like, even the fact that I don't behave in a racist way, at least consciously on a daily basis, doesn't take away the fact that a black person is going to go through discrimination. And I'm not going to hate on them for speaking up. And this is why I think that I have so little patience for men who don't want to let women speak about the discrimination they go through. You know, and when I say that, some men are going to be like, oh yeah, but like you have rights, you have a bank account. Like, yeah, I can live a life, but as like here we see that even small discrimination, like, it can affect you so much. And it's just a silly thing of like, hey, you're the merch girl, but it's so much like she's on stage, like, it's like crazy. Okay, let me keep going.
People are like, nope, 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 screw you. And like, I'm like, you're reading between the lines. It's not me.
How they want you to
poetry.
be.
You know, it's like, whatever they're reading into, that's on them. That's a them problem, not a you problem.
Whatever they are reading into, that's on them.
There's way more of us now,
women.
though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
You know, I never toured very much for most of my life, so go on tours and play all these festivals. I've gotten to meet, like, I got to meet you at Sick New World, and like, it's just different getting to see you, like, being on the side and like watching you walk out, seeing your technique, seeing the crowd. I like to see the crowd.
Isn't it cool? I feel that
I
there is
really
always
watch it.
something to learn. I love to watch other bands and see how what they say, how they interact with each other. I absolutely love it.
Are you like
I am an observer.
nerd?
I kind of took a back seat to that because I was kind of traumatized by that early on because I wanted to learn, but nobody would teach me because, oh, you're just the girl in the band and you don't, whatever. Especially when I started playing guitar, like, it took me forever to like know what pedals do because nobody would show me. So it was just like, I would just go to like used shops and be like, that looks cool. You almost like buy it because it's like a crazy looking thing or like the name. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, nobody here is going to tell me what not to do or what to do. So I'm like, I'm learning. And
it's completely different. Adding like playing an instrument and writing instrumental in any way, like, completely, that's a whole different dynamic of hurdle to get over. It's really hard for us as like the front people of bands, but then it's a whole other level of women that are in bands and they are the instruments. I find that to be even more difficult. It's a whole other community of people like not taking you seriously.
Yes, and heaven forbid you say the wrong thing. I'll like say the tube screamer does what it actually doesn't do, and that's actually the pog pedal because we're in the middle of a tour and my brain gets mushy. But heaven forbid you say, oh, that means you're dumb. Oh, you don't know anything about your stuff. Why do you have a Gibson deal? You don't know anything about guitar.
Yeah.
The
compressors.
Oh, yes, oh my god. Like, I like what they're saying, and like what she pointed out, like, you have the vocalist, you have the musicians, and every single category is going to have the different discriminations. I found already that in music, some people can be, I think, super mean, like, God forbid you're trying to learn, God forbid you make a mistake. You always have this group of people who is going to be like, oh, like, you're so bad and everything. Like, I am a firm believer of, like, you're not perfect right away. You might never be perfect, but if you do something that you love, it's still so worth it. And like, It's not everyone, but there are so many musicians who are like that. And it's like, do your mistakes and do what you enjoy and improve. You're going to look very bad as you improve. It's okay. There's a quote that I really like. It's impossible to get better and look good at the same time. So fuck looking good, get better and do what you love. And I like what you say, because indeed, these musicians, they can be even more like mean with the women. You just have to see like the social media of musicians, like the comments of girls and the comments of boys are not the same. Trust me.
Pickups in here, I don't know. I put them in years ago. Yeah, it's just strange. But we, we find our way. Like I have a room in my house that is not shared, and it's like part childhood bedroom. I got all my favorite things. I'm using all of my leather jackets as sound baffling for my.
Oh my God.
Like what's like
That's so cool.
That's like the most metal
and
thing.
I've
Yes, that's so cool.
Yeah, I've done
My leather jackets.
pretty much everything since COVID times. All of my duets, my collaborations, I've done in that room. So I actually, so do you guys know Linda Perry?
Yeah.
Or at least she is.
Never met her, but I was walking
amazing.
into a studio when she walked out one time, and I went,
She's like everybody's big sister, like cool big sister. She's always like dropping this knowledge, and she said, and we were talking about the state of hard rock and metal, and she said, you know what, it frustrates me is like everyone's such a tryhard, but if you are rock and roll, and you are hard rock, and you are metal, you don't have to try. You just
don't have to
exist.
force it.
yeah.
The three of us sitting here, we are lifers, and we are the embodiment of what metal means. It is a lifestyle. It is the way that we live. It's the way we breathe. It's the way we look at art. Signy.
This was so powerful. I love that so much.
There's three leading ladies that are coming up right now. One is Emil and the Sniffers. The next is the Lambrini Girls. My third and absolute. You have to always take them out on tour, see them live. The Warning.
For me, I found a band called Dedrick. I found her on Instagram. Like she appeared on Instagram.
I love
just
it when
like
that happens.
the algorithm loves me because suggests me
Bestowed it upon you.
It's thanks to these women, I think, like they facilitate the path of the women that come after, and that's what they're talking about. And they made it easier for the Warning. I hope they're doing great.
And she's into video games as well, so I got interested. I started to follow her.
Tati from Ginger.
Oh, Tati.
Like,
Yes.
Ginger is like, they just put out a new album recently. Like, aside from just being stoked for them and really enjoying listening to them play, I just am really, really, really take great pleasure in like analyzing the mechanics of how Tati sings and screams, because like she just is a master of it.
Yeah.
Like she sings in such like
She's a natural.
a professional, perfect way. Like her scream, there's just no limit of like, oh, I have bad technique, so I can't do this whole show like perfectly. Like she just truly is an incredible
I think she's
vocalist.
self-taught as well.
Who cares?
It's really fascinating to me because I don't
Self-taught.
scream like that. I really look to her and go, wow, like if I can, I wonder how she does that. I want to find out how she protects her voice.
And it's ever
eventually doing
evolving
that.
because it's like there's this thing like I know with like even like listening to you from the early days, and it's like oh, here's this thing, and then oh wow, she expanded on this and this, and then there's like this like thing that everybody thinks that you are, like that's like your like peak moment or whatever.
Sometimes I sound like, I feel like I
We'll
sound
have
like
to
the
nerd
guy
out.
from Typo Negative.
That's awesome though. But one of these days we'll have to like sit and nerd out a little bit about vocals. I'd love to pick your brains.
I would love to see this
And then, of
conversation.
course, Poppy.
Poppy!
I'm fascinated by vocalists having a vocal journey, like
We were saying like, oh, that's you.
yeah.
My introduction to Poppy was I was watching this like video of her talking to a plant. This is years ago. This is like 6
Poppy's
years
very
ago.
funny.
And she's amazing.
The industry plant video, right?
Yes,
But
that
it's
was
like,
it.
this is an industry plant.
Yeah.
And this is a regular plant.
Fascinating. As far as like advice,
This is like my Avengers Endgame movie. Like my face mentioning my face. It's like, give me more of it. Like, Poppy mentioned, the Warning mentioned. What do you mean? I was so right to watch this video. This is so exciting.
for these young women, I say stay the course. Don't let anyone tear you apart.
And what you say is so true. Like, we should stick together. Too many people think that in between women in the scene there is always catfight.
Like
competitiveness. I've been asked so many times, like, oh, did you ever fight? I never had a fight. I always had a good relationship with my colleagues, so there is space for everyone.
The catfight is like such a misogynistic trope. It's this idea that like two women interacting together, they are going to have beef or they are going to fight for the man's attention. And when this happens, like, of course, sometimes there's just the human interaction that goes wrong, but also, you know, being pushed in a field where you are the minority and like this is your special thing, but it's also the thing that is going to cause you being discriminated against in the field. And then there's another person and it's like, okay, one of us is going to get the discrimination, one of us is going to get the light. And it's because like they are pit against each other often in these industries. But like most people just want to have good interactions. Most women together have great interactions. This catfight is a dumb trope.
I'm so honored to be sitting here with you both and to listen to your stories. I've been having a hard time keeping my tears away this whole time because I just think there's something so powerful about being in both of your presence. And like, you know, before Christina and I had ever met, I had her CDs and she was such an inspiration to me because I was like, oh, good, women can do that when everyone's telling me no. And then, you know, and just to see you come into your own and everybody is cheering you on right now and you're just carrying yourself in such a beautiful way and you're being unapologetically you. We're all passing the torch. That's like, Amy and I were talking about this on our last tour, like the only responsibility we have, we're not going to save the world. What we get to do is pass the torch. I shouldn't be here with everything that I survived, but I did.
Yeah.
And so that means that there is something bigger, and now I get to say, hey, this is yours. What do you want to do with it? Here's this light.
And we need to be in solidarity with everybody has a hurdle. We got to be a collective of all of us who have been cast out, whether we're women or we're not white, whatever it is, or we're gay or we're trans. Like, I think having that like coalition of everybody that feels like an outcast within it will make us all be stronger. And, you know, I feel like zero diversity is boring.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Zero diversity is boring, and you know, it really is the theme like of my channel. I really focused on like women in hard rock metal, not so much because, of course, like it's going to be a motivation of mine. I like showcasing women. I like discovering women and the art that they do. But it's also because, like, you know, at some point you have to kind of like find, like, there's so much music out there that I started like really with a bit of everything, and then I kind of like tunneled and I was like, okay, I'm going to be like more in rock, and I kept having these recommendations of amazing women in rock, so I was like, okay, I'm going to really focus on that. And I've always wanted to have a platform where I would, you know, highlight women. And I'm such a baby channel, I'm super small, but the community is great, it's so amazing, and you have so many recommendations of amazing musicians, and it's really nice to see how invested you are in their success. My viewers are mostly men, the bands that I talk about are mostly women, but honestly, seeing how the community that I have is responding to the bands that I talk about, seeing how passionate you are and how you keep recommending these bands to me, it is giving me a lot of hope, and it is making me even more, you know, passionate and motivated in what I do.
Commercially, which is amazing, but also just it feels like creatively, which, you know, the commercial parts, I'm sure an amazing feeling that you know you have that too, and you're just getting bigger and bigger and you didn't hit the ceiling.
It is a big honor for me to be here. All the young ladies that are looking at us and as an example, they can find their own way, and this will really stand out. So Thank you.
We did it.
A woman.
Yeah. We did it. We did it.
It's her story.
Hi, I'm Courtney.
I'm Lizzie.
I'm Christina.
Make sure you stream Women of Metal playlist right here on Spotify. Go get it.
Don't listen what your girlfriend says. She reads those magazines.
Okay, this is such a different format than what I usually do. Here I reacted to this roundtable and I did my commentary. But honestly, let me know what you think about this format. It's a bit special, but like there aren't many of these out there. But I was like, okay, this is worth like talking about a little in a longer video on this channel. But like, I hope that you had a nice time watching this video. I definitely absolutely loved this roundtable. It's really nice to have them together and sharing their experience and the wisdom that they got out of it. And yeah, I learned a lot, and it was really motivating as a girl who, as a woman, young woman, I'm 25, as a woman who wants to do rock music, because I'm like, okay, maybe I can go. And also as a woman, you know, it's for everyone, but I think like it's even stronger. It is even more stronger where you are a woman. But this thing of like, as I'm 25, I feel like a baby, but for a lot of people, I'm old. And you have a lot of people who are like, yeah, after 30 as a woman, you won't do anything in your life. But I'm like, I want to start new projects, and I want to start sharing the rock music that I do, the music that I wrote, and this was really motivating to me. I'm so glad I watched this video. Let me know your thoughts on this topic. I hope I won't get hate comments, but as I know my community, y'all are always like very open-minded, so I trust y'all in the comments. Let me know if you liked this concept, if there are more pieces of interviews, roundtables on the topic of my channel that you would like to see me react and comment on. I'm still working on deep dives. I have the analysis of the Warning concept album Queen of the Murder Scene that is coming. I will work on a deep dive on Voice of Basseprot, and of course I have so many reactions planned because I have a lot of requests every day. But yeah, it's really exciting seeing this video. Like, it was a really, really nice and inspiring watch. I'm really glad I did. Let me know your thoughts, and I hope you have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell. Like and share this video if you had a good time. I was your host, Leo. This was the Women of Metal Roundtable, and I will see you very soon. Bye!